You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold Everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Your host star Wole and the homie Mo, Ray Jeezy, and Glenn are out. We've been out for a couple of weeks. Yeah, we weren't on last week. Yeah, a couple of weeks. So what's going on, Mo? And how have you been, my man?
And I'm good, man. We finally got some news to talk about, the
A
off-season
lot.
kicked off, you know what I
A
mean?
lot. NFL free
Everybody,
agent. Go ahead, my man. Go ahead. No, go ahead,
no,
bro.
NFL free agency. Everybody's looking forward to next year. You know how that goes.
Man, at the NFL, when it wants to take over, it takes over. I mean, like you got March Madness, which is dope, but when the NFL drops news, man, nothing beats it.
I tell you,
Not even John Morant can't beat it. You know what I'm saying?
I
Nothing
tell
beats
you,
it.
the
You know what I'm saying?
bomb, baby.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It is. It's definitely crazy. But yeah, you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also tweet us at ABG _everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG _everything and like our All Burgundy and Gold Everything Facebook page. Hey, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold YouTube channel too. Man, it's dope. We growing, man. We're growing brand. So check us out. All right, Mo. It's time for the pregame. This is what we have on tap, man. We talked about it, man. We're gonna talk about a lot of it, but we're gonna talk about the Washington Commanders re-signed Deron Payne, then Taylor Heineke leaving Washington to go to the Atlanta Falcons, and the Commanders replacing him with Jacoby Brissett. And finally, we'll chat about the rest of the free agent period for the Washington Commanders. All right, let's go right into Deron Payne. Deron Payne signed. Deron Payne signed a deal for 4 years, $90 million contract with a $28 million signing bonus, $45 million fully guaranteed, and $60 million in total guarantees. Mo, your thoughts on the D tackle getting this big deal?
Man, initially in my heart of hearts, like I reserved 20 plus $22 million for the Aaron Donalds of the world. However, I do understand that when players when teams force players to take the risk of playing out the contract and suffering the injury in that last year, hometown discounts go out the way.
Yes.
And now this player has to get compensated because there's this off chance that something could have been missed, right? Yeah. So I'm happy for Deron Payne personally. From the history of what we know about football, him being just a Pro Bowler last year, and I think he was like an alternate Pro Bowler, or like something happened, like he had to get in.
It was a BS thing, but yeah, he shouldn't even been an alternate, right? And he shouldn't even been an alternate. He was by far.
He shouldn't have been an alternate.
By far, but you're right. It was something weird. You're right. But by far, he was. Go ahead. Though.
I reserve those price tags for accolades. Like supreme accolades. So if you told me, when you tell me Aaron Donald makes 22 to 25 million, I'm like, okay, I understand it. Yeah. When you tell me Chris Jones can get 20 million, I understand it. I'm not saying I don't understand it for Deron Payne. Yeah. I just feel like if we look at him in totality, we had a lot of years where we were wondering, is he going to get it? Yeah. We saw the potential, right? Then some slight improvements, but like the numbers really never popped off the charts for us until last year. Yeah. Last year, we can absolutely say that he dominated football. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So I'm happy for him because he cashed out at the right time, because there was a supreme risk of him getting hurt in his contract year. So he deserves every penny coming his way. He is a fan favorite. He is an organization favorite. I seen that the Commanders staff, they all welcoming him into the building the other day. Every coach was there. Ron Rivera has some great words for him. He looks like an outstanding young man. I just can't take that image out of my head. And the reports that came out a few years ago of whether they were going to pick up that option, right? Yeah. And whether they were going to. So when I think of a player, and maybe I'm just outdated, and maybe inflation is why the cost is where it is. There you go.
Now, you said right there. That's what it is. That's what it is.
And maybe it's inflation. But when I think of 22 million, I think of that being reserved for like the highest of the high. So now I guess Aaron Donald makes like 25, 26 million, right?
Hargrave got 80.
Oh, he's another one.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, so what it is. Yeah. So what it is just like we talk. All right, for instance, and it's the truth though. It is what it is. Aaron Donald started the market, right? He started it. He's an extreme talent, like you said, but he did start. He set the market, though. That's what it is. So everybody after, it's just like any contract. Everybody after is going to ask, especially if you have a good year, like a Pro Bowl year. You're going to ask for that type of money. That's just what's going to happen because he set the market. Deshaun, that's just why it's having an issue with the whole Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Jackson and then Deshaun Watson set the market. It's unfortunate that it was grossly overpaid, and I love Deshaun Watson, but it's grossly overpaid. But he set the market. Kirk Cousins for a while was setting the market, and he wasn't as good as any of the other quarterbacks we've seen. So, like, that's money wise, I get it. Like, him getting Aaron Donald money, I feel like people looking at it too. But even that, Aaron Donald still makes more than him in the AV, and it's like there's a lot of and there's other incentives too that. It sounds good, but a lot of that stuff isn't what it actually is.
Right.
You know what I mean? The number, you see 90 for 5, and you're like, oh, 90 for 4 or 5? 4. 90 for 4, and you're looking at it like, oh, but it's not even what you really think it is. Not even that. But in terms of him, like the thing that's good, he's still really, really young. So when this contract goes out, he'll still be 29. He'll be 29.
He'll be ready to cash out again.
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting him in his prime. You're not getting him at him at the latter part of his career. And then when you're 20, and it takes you, and in terms of a defensive player and any player, right? It's going to take you like 3-4 years to get to your stride to see who you're going to be. He's now figured it out. It seems like he's figured it out. And he was dominant as the time. He was better. Jonathan Allen is amazing, but he was better than Jonathan Allen this season. Jonathan Allen was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So like to me, I'm glad this is what it represents to me. Fans have always talked about how when Washington never keeps their own, they always let them go. When they're good, they never. When they deserve their money, they never pay them. They always pay the outside person. They never pay their own. Well, they paid their own. You know what I mean? Like they paid their own. This guy, like you said, Washington took the risk of saying like, oh, we're not going to exercise that option. He bought out. He deserves it. He earned it. He earned his money. He earned to get his money. Now they earned the right to overpay him. If you want to call it overpaying, they own the right because you took that chance. And now this situation will occur with if they say, for instance, they don't exercise the option and chase, right? That's a situation that can happen again. So I'm just saying, like, they've done this. They put themselves in a situation, but I do think that it does send a message to other free agents out there that, you know what, Ron, if he's the one, Ron gave this kid an opportunity to say, hey, if you want a contract, we're not going to exercise it and prove it to us. Like, prove it to us. And he was a man of his word. They proved it to him, and he's got his money. So for other people out there who are looking at Washington now as an option, or now who may have had us looked at Washington sideways, could now look at Washington and say, you know what, they did the Ron Payne right. Like he played his best year, his last year. A lot of people would be like, nah, we're not giving him that money because he didn't do this 24/7. But he played his best year, and they honored that deal. Like they honored it. They told him, if you ball out, we're gonna pay you.
And they stood on it.
You know what I mean? And I think that does say something for other players looking into this to the organization.
And I think that's why I was at with it, right? Like I feel like because they had to honor their word, right? But I will say this, as I take it into the next question, we know that we know what the expectation is now going forward though, because with that price tag, you can't dip back under that.
Nah,
you can't dip back under that. Not without scrutiny, at least, right? Yeah. So that leads me into the next question. With Payne signing his new deal, what are your expectations for him next season?
Man, you got to be the same and even better. Like that's how I look at it, man. You got to be better. You got to be dominant. You got to be more dominant. And I do think what leads him to have better numbers to like this is and it's not Aaron Donald, right? But dudes, you playing with Jonathan Allen. It ain't gonna be that hard. Like you should be. This is it. Like you should put up numbers like this. And the thing that's cool about Deron Payne is that he's really. I mean, he plays games. He doesn't miss games. You know what I mean? He's durable. He's very, very durable. So he if you look at the way Washington use their D tackles, man, they're in plays almost like 90% or 70%, a high percentage, which isn't normal, which is not normal. People like to rotate tackles. We've seen it in all teams. Washington doesn't they leave
They lead them to win there.
The usage rate for Allen and Payne is stupid. Like, to be honest with you.
So I guess that does justify the price tag for both of them then, because what do you have? You have $40 million between the two of them on the D line, right?
Yeah, and they're in it. Yeah, and they're in it.
Okay.
Yeah. They're in it. They don't take. They really. I mean, no joke. I mean, all jokes aside, they really take. There's no plays off for real for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, which for the big boys in the middle, you don't really want that, but they do it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but when you got guys that can do it.
Yeah, but it does hinder. You know, this, like, it does hinder you when you play certain offensive line that leans on you and you're playing a power running game. You're eventually going to like kind of wilter.
Organization can help them too, get them some backers so they can fill those gaps, right? Rather than putting the onus on them all day.
Yeah, exactly.
That you said something that led me to this question. I think I know the answer based off of my IC. But who do we think the fan base thinks is the more talented guy? Allen or Payne? Like, just
talent,
pure talent.
or actually good talent?
Like pure talent, just talent.
Oh, Payne's the more talented.
Oh, so Payne is the more talented.
Payne's the more talented dude. I think a lot of people have said that for a while, though, for years, though. They've said that, though. That's what been a little bit annoying about
Allen
Payne.
is more of the technician.
Yeah.
And that's why he's more consistent.
Allen's just flat out good. Like, and he's flat out, he's consistent. Like,
and that's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure I sorted that out before I said what I said, right? So with him being the more talented one, I feel like he has to, like, this is the baseline for him. Double-digit sacks is the baseline for him going forward at $22 million, right?
I agree.
Or like contending for that. It could be a 9.5 year, 1 year, or 9 year, but we gotta know that you're gonna give us this kind of output, and then even still and take it to the next level. He needs to be in the ranks of the Jeffrey Simmons, the Chris Joneses. You know, nobody may ever touch Aaron Donald, because them three defensive players.
You gotta breathe it though.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like,
you gotta breathe it though. I'm serious. You gotta breathe it though. Like, when we talking 90 mil, you gotta breathe it. You may not be Aaron Donald. I'm not saying you're gonna be Aaron Donald, but you gotta breathe it. Like, what I mean by that is, like, you gotta really want it. Like, you gotta want it to be, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's good enough he can be a Simmons, he can do that. But if you want to be like this money, because it is what it is, you get 90 million, like, it's a 90, the dollar sign, the title is what it is. So the title says you're a $90 million player. Regardless of it is or what is it. That's what it is. It's the title. Yeah. The title says you're a $90 million player. So you got to breathe it. That's all, you got to breathe it. So anything else is unacceptable. But I will say this, though. It goes back to it. Bro, you're 25.
You're 25.
Man, you young, man. Like,
this got to be the best this got to be the best 3-year stretch, 4-year stretch of his career, right?
And just like anything, like any Mo, you coach, and you know what I'm saying, like I coach, you know what I'm saying, different sports, whatever. But we always tell a kid, like, once a kid scores first game, he may have given you, I'll use basketball, may have given you like 4 points, 5 points, right, in a game. Then all of a sudden he drops like 20. Mm-hmm. You tell the kid off the bat, you tell him, I don't want to see 5 no more. You messed up. You already shown me what you can do. You already shown me what you can do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Deron Payne, you messed up in a way, indirectly. You messed up. You showed me what you can do. And it's not just, this fan base, you know what I'm saying, like that, if you don't perform, and I expect to perform. Nationally, yeah. Now you put yourself on the national media. That's what you put yourself out as now. Now it's national. So, but I expect him to ball out, because I think there's so many factors here that he plays with for him to ball out. He's not the only. It's like he's teaming up with the technichn. Right. So by that alone, it's just like you're going to eat and they work off each other. All game. No, you can't. The only thing that's going to hinder him. The only thing that will hinder Deron Payne is Deron Payne. And what I mean by that is like, if he just starts to overly feel himself. But truth be told, and to be honest with you, he can work at 80% and still do good numbers.
Better than half the league.
Yeah, because you're going one-on-one because the other guy is going at 110%. You already know that.
Do you think they put him on the attack for the rest of his, like, now that he's the $22 million guy?
He's on attack.
They see the attack guy now rather than.
They both are attack guy. That's how they changed it up, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first it was like he was still worried. You could tell he was worried about
supporting the run.
Supporting the run. Now he don't do that no more.
Okay, pin his ears back and get after it.
And it's worked out for him. You know what I'm saying? He's learned. He said that he's learned how to finish plays. Like that's the thing he's done better. Because if you look at, I've always said, when you look at Deron Payne, this is why I feel like he's always been uber talented. If you watch him, the flash plays, but he's consistent. The dude is always getting in the backfield on run plays. Like he's a very athletic tackle. Like he's like Warren Sappish, like in terms of athletic.
That's what I was about to get to.
He's Warren Sappish. He's got Warren Sappish
with the usage, with the extra guy next to him, and what we've seen him do last year.
He's got Warren Sapp ability. He's got not Aaron Donald, because different. But he's definitely got, and not just that's not a knock, because Warren Sapp was a bad man. So it's not like I'm not saying that he's not. He was a beast. But like that's who he reminds me of. Like I think Payne reminds me of like Warren Sapp. He got that kind of motor, that type of power. Like what he was doing last year was amazing. Like it wasn't just good; it was amazing. Like it was remarkable. If the team was consistently winning games, he would have more attention. You know what I'm saying? Because he was that good. You know what I mean? He was that good. You know what I'm saying? But we had a tweet, my man, about expectations for Payne at @more_bread4 said 9+ sacks and a whole lot of pressures. Allen took heat off him this year. Now they got it really playing for both. Like it goes back, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people think, which is a good point. A lot of people worry about Jonathan Allen. You know what I mean? Now they're going to game plan for both. So that does make sense. I do agree.
It should free both of them up, and then you don't know who to, right? And it makes
you don't know who to.
Dominant.
Yeah. Which I always say. Go ahead.
Do you see a year or multiple years of both of them near or at double-digit sacks?
I think both of them could be getting double-digit sacks for a couple years. I think that you got. It's the talent. Like they're uberly talented. Like I don't think there's no. I mean, if you look at that detail combination, probably the best.
Like
no, not like in the league. I'm sorry. I was trying to be like. There's nothing in the league like that. Not even close. So. Like, to be honest with you, and Jonathan Allen has been consistent. He's been doing this. Like, the only thing that hinders Jonathan Allen at times is injury. But Jonathan Allen has been doing this.
Because I mean, I think Hargrove last year and Fletcher Cox. We think Fletcher Cox is on the downside, right?
But Hargrove's like an older, and they're both like older guys. These guys are in their 20s.
Together.
In their 20s together. Like that's the thing. You're right. Hargrove and what's his name? But Hargrove's in his 32 or 30 something. HBCU, shout out to Hargrove. Then you got
So it seems like we got big numbers. We have production and domination coming by the way of Deron Payne and John Allen in the next coming years. A lot of other news though. News with the Commanders, right? I wanted to get your perspective on this, and nobody's perspective that I wanted more than yours on this, right? I know. In other news, man, now former quarterback Taylor Heineke signed a 2-year deal with potentially for $20 million with Ray Jeezy's Atlanta Falcons. What will you remember most about Heineke's time here, man?
Them yo-yo balls he was throwing up.
He couldn't get his compliment on the way out the door, man.
Yo-yo balls, man.
A compliment on the way out the door, man. He no longer yours, man.
Balls, man. Them yo-yo balls he was throwing up the field, man.
Almost getting
Terry McLaurin killed on plays, man. I mean, I don't know. Oh, McLaurin saving him? I mean, what are we doing here? I don't know.
Hey, McLaurin favored him, man. McLaurin liked the opportunities, man.
And he did. But he did save him a lot. But you know what? All jokes aside, man. Man, he's giving himself an opportunity to have generational wealth, right?
Yeah,
so I can't hate, especially his story. You know what I mean? Like a guy who wasn't going to play football, he was sleeping on the couch. He was in the XFL, he was a backup. I'm in the XFL too. Yeah, man. I mean, as an individual, man, I dig the heart. You know what? Like that first playoff game, I was like, yo, dude showed me something. So I dig that playoff game against Brady, which is the claim to fame. You know what I mean? He played hard, and he plays hard. His teammates love him.
I was about to say, man, the dude won the hearts of the team and the hearts of the DMV and some of the some national media off one dive play.
That's what it is, though.
One dive play in the game, competing tough versus Tom Brady in his first year in Tampa. So I'm happy for him, man. You talk about a guy that was he was in class to be an accountant on his sister's couch. He gets a call up from a coach that he was familiar with. Before you know it, injuries riddle the team, and he has to suit up with no film and limited experience and limited playbook knowledge, and he goes out there and he scraps, man. He was scrappy that night. I mean, I tried to kill him dead every drive that day, and he just kept fighting, against the best Tampa defense we've seen in the last 5 years. Because
that defense was good.
Yeah, that defense was good, man. Like with JPP, Devin White, Levante David, Vita Vea in the middle.
Sue, Dominic Sue
was there. Like the way he fought against them, which should have been a blowout. And he gave the team a chance to the point where Chase Young is grabbing him by the back and he's pointing at the name, and I think he just invigorated the spirits of a lot of people here. The DMV, man. We have a lot of politics going on, but at the heart of it all, man, I think Redskins fans are blue collar people, man.
Yeah, man. You say
Redskins are Commanders.
It's all good. Look, man, you don't bother me.
Yeah, Commanders.
It don't bother me. You already know what time it is with me. I don't even give a
let's say Washington fans. Washington fans are blue collar, man, like hard workers, and I think everybody saw a piece of themselves in that guy. And I think that's the legacy that he leaves, man. And you talked about the generational wealth. You're talking about a guy that was on the couch to making tens of millions of dollars over the course of 3 years by just working, slow grind, taking the long route. It's a marathon. Nipsey said it best, man. But like, I'm happy for him. He's in a place where they have a young quarterback, so he does actually have a chance to compete realistically, because
if he gets
I don't think anybody sees Ritter as I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying they don't. It's not like a landslide, right?
Yeah. I got you.
And an injury here or an opportunity, like
no, it's a chance.
Same way Taylor got on here. Injury there, and he gets on, and it might be magical with him and Kyle Pitts down there and Drake London. At least this time he got Drake London, who can erase a lot of bad passes because he's 6'5". You know what I mean?
Yeah, real height.
I mean, real height. So
and dynamic.
Yeah. Terry was going up there with all 5'11" of him to go help him, but like you got a guy here that's a legitimate eraser. That high point ball is a little bit more.
Hey, look, man. Heineke was overthrowing Logan Thomas, and Logan Thomas is like what? I don't even know. I mean,
he was coming off of injuries too, though, man.
Yeah, but he was a giant. I mean, he was sailing the thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was selling. I mean, come on, bro. He was Logan tall. Logan a tall boy.
Logan is a tall dude, man. Former quarterback, standing 6'5".
That man was like. I'm just saying, like you're right. He could save a couple times.
He got a big team, though. He got a big team down there.
He do though. He do. And they run a lot. They want to run the ball a lot.
And they run the ball a lot. They run the ball a lot, right? So it could be. They got a dynamic guy in the backfield. He used to be a former wide receiver, Cordero Patterson. He can dink and dunk and all that kind of stuff, man. So I'm interested in seeing how Taylor does this offseason and seeing if he competes, or if he's going to be a backup at first, which will be right along his alley and right along his lane.
He's cool being a backup, though. He likes it, man.
Hey, it's a lot better to be a backup with $10 million in your pocket.
Exactly. He good. He winning. He hit the lottery. All right, so we on Twitter about, Taylor Heineke, what does folks remember or will remember about him. At Americane 33 said he had a set of, I'm not putting that. I'm not saying that. He had a set of, you know what? I'm not going to say. This is like Fox. I'm not going to say that. What else? My man DH _ MV JOR made like major, but MVJOR. He has the Eminem bye thing, like Eminem. Like my name is like this.
My name is.
You know what I'm saying? People like me, man. You know what I'm saying? Folks are like me. I'm a little bit of both. I'm just glad he's gone. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm glad he's gone. I just felt like the fan base is so divisive when it comes to Taylor Heineke. So he can go. I just feel like now you could go.
Hey, he's provocative, man. He gets the people going, man.
I know, man. I don't need that. You can go. Like,
Okay.
man, he's did his job, man. Like at the end of the day, we gassed this kid up, and he was good, man. He was good when he was good here. You know what I mean? I mean, he was not good. Good is too strong a word.
He was good for him.
He was good for him.
For
he was a good story. He was a good story. I like that term. He's a good story. And now that story,
man.
That's done. It's done, man. Like, but he's done. But he's taking care of it. Now he's opportunity to take care of his life and family, you know, and whatever. So God bless Taylor Heineke. But
now that Taylor Heineke's gone, right?
Yes.
We've talked about a retention in keeping Deron Payne. We've talked about a departure in Taylor Heineke going to Atlanta with his generational wealth.
Yes.
Be great. Let's talk about Commanders free agent signings. What's coming in? What's going to help this team next year?
With the replacement. Let's talk about his replacement. His replacement, Heineke's replacement.
Yeah, we're gonna start. We're gonna start there. We're gonna throw him in there too. Okay. The Commanders, you know, they've signed some guys. We got offensive lineman Andrew Wiley. They got him from the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. 3 years, $24 million. We got center and guard from up the Turnpike in New York. Nick Gates from the Giants. They brought in Jacoby Brissett today.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on these free agent signings?
First off, man, Brissett, he was on my wish list. Him and Teddy Bridgewater on my list. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad Brissett just, to me, he knows his role. And he's a quarterback. To me, he's an upgrade from what you had last year on both quarterbacks, to be honest with you. In Heineke and Wentz, because he plays his role. He plays his game. He's not trying to make the special play or the wild play. He's trying to make the play, right? So he's not elite, but he's solid. He had a good year last year, even, with, obviously wanted to play Deshaun because Deshaun is the franchise quarterback when he came back from suspension. But Brissett was solid when he was playing when he was, the quarterback for the team. So I just think right now, with this team, like if Sam Howell goes down, or Sam Howell's horrible, which I don't think he's going to be horrible in the offseason, then you'll see Brissett. But if it's an injury, I think you have a capable backup. And I think it's a guy in the locker room that's just going to be good for the locker room and good for the young quarterback. You know what I mean? And, with Eric Bieniemy, I just felt like it's just a whole different vibe with this squad. So I love the signing of Brissett. I love it. I think that it's good for the team. I think it's the right hire. It's the right signing for a young quarterback. It's different. It's the right, like if you went and got a Matt Ryan, no, I think Matt Ryan is done. But if you got a Matt Ryan, it's still a different thing, right? It's Matt Ryan, right? It's league MVP at a time, people Matt Ryan. To start. So like people will say, like if the rookie is struggling, they're gonna clamor even harder for a Matt Ryan. You get what I'm saying? So it's just different. So I feel like this kid, Brissett, he's had this role. He's played under multiple offenses. He knows football. I just think it's good for Sam Howell. He'll be learning from it from an experienced vet, a professional. I like that signing. A professional, exactly. And then you mentioned some of the other signings. I think Wiley is dope. I think Wiley is a great sign. I mean, I'm all about getting people from Kansas City. I am. Like I'm all about it, man. I'm sorry.
Bring some winning culture here.
Yes,
right?
I'm all about it, man. Hey, you touch greatness. You play with Pat Mahomes. You touch greatness, man. You touch Andy Reid. You know what I'm saying? That's why I dig what Eric Bieniemy was doing. Like, hey, give me my guys. Like, you bring in your guys. You know what I mean? Like now you got Wiley. He can play tackle or guard. Probably play right tackle. You can move Sam Cosmi inside the guard.
Cosmi's definitely a guard this year.
Yeah, exactly a guard. Yeah, so you can move him to guard. I think he'll excel at guard because he has a mean streak. You just re-signed Tyler Larson. Larson, who has been when healthy has been a very good center for you. So now, and you got more depth because you're talking about Gates. They signed Gates from the Giants. So now there's a competition with that. You know what I'm saying? He's a two-way. He can play guard, center. So, and then you still got the kid.
Roulier is still here, right?
Probably get cut.
Probably get cut.
Probably get cut.
Okay.
Because they're healthy. He can't stay healthy. And then you. But he's solid. I mean, Roulier is one of the better centers, but he just can't stay healthy. Can't stay healthy. And then you got the kid Chris Paul, who looked good against the Cowboys when they played him the last game of the season, who will probably compete. So I feel like you are better in terms of your offensive line because you don't have Norwell or Trey Turner on your line anymore. So you'll be better off. But you still got to bring bodies in because you need depth. They're gonna need depth at the O-line. But I do like what they did in the all season so far.
And you know how that season gets.
Yes.
When we talk about, I think the biggest signing, well, the most popular signing would be Brissett, right? I have an interesting take on Brissett, though. I think that's because Sam Howell played well against the Cowboys in that last game, give or take, whether the Cowboys took it seriously or whatever the case may be. I know Washington wasn't in a position to feel like the Cowboys let up or anything like that, and they just had to take the victory, right?
Yeah.
So I think the jury's still out on Sam Howell, right? So for me, when I saw the Jacoby Brissett signing, I said, oh, it's two things that Jacoby Brissett signing told me. You look at this two ways. You're going to bring in a professional, somebody that's a veteran, somebody that's played in multiple systems. So he's smart.
Yeah.
He's always started in every place that he's been by hook or crook some way, right?
Yeah.
So that experience, and he practically started the whole year last year for Cleveland, right? So that experience alone is good, even if Sam Howell is the starter, because you have a veteran behind you who can be an extra set of eyes, who can help you watch film, who can be your supporter, and who doesn't mind holding the clipboard behind you without it being any conflict, right? Yep. Versus how Carson looked like a sad puppy every time somebody else was in the game last year, right? So you don't have that. So I looked at it from that perspective. The other perspective I looked at it was Jacoby Brissett wasn't actually bad last year.
No, he wasn't.
Right? So Jacoby Brissett not actually being bad last year, I look at it from the other standpoint. It could be a competition in camp. Although I know Ron has said that it was Sam Howell's job.
He said he wanted to be a competition, though. He said he wanted to be a competition.
Right, exactly. And then, he started changing his tune towards the combine, right? And then the signing today, I'm looking at it like, okay, if it's a competition, I'm putting my money on Brissett.
Yeah, it's not a real competition though. But I'm gonna tell you why. But I'm gonna let you go though.
Okay. Right, so if there is any element of competition, I'm looking at Brissett. I think Brissett has a lively arm. I think Brissett has. I mean, they both have some kind of wheels. Brissett's experience, I think, will come in play. And if Brissett starts, the only negative to Brissett starting is I think Washington doesn't change. I think Washington is right back where they left off at, quarterback purgatory. He's just good enough, right? Yeah. He's just good enough where he's going to win some games. You're going to mess around, win 6 or 7 games again. You're going to be right back where you were this year. Yeah. In the quarterback hunt, looking for a quarterback because you're not going to retain him. He's a stopgap. He's not a long-term fix. Yeah, he's not a long-term fix. You're not going to go back to Sam Darnold after that's Sam Howell after that. You're not going to go back to Sam Howell after that. So, you end up being in the middle of the draft again, not able to get a quarterback that you want because
you don't get your guy.
There's nothing there. So, if nothing changes, then nothing changes.
Yeah, right? I don't think. I want you to go ahead. I'm finishing.
Ron is content. It seems like Ron is content being in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, this is what I will say to that, though. Brissett's not starting. I know he's not starting. Brissett's not starting, but if Brissett starts, this is the truth. And this is what it is. Sam Howell was horrible in the offseason. He was horrible in training camp. He was horrible in preseason. That's how it is. That's because it's almost like. Because I heard on the radio and I totally agreed because the folks covered it and I told him that was my point too anyway. I'm just using them as a reference. Just like it's just like the star player being graded on a curve compared to the bench player. Like all the star player has to do is give you a little bit. The bench player has to be extremely, extremely good, right? To even be in the conversation. All the star player has to do is give you a little bit and you give him an A. Okay. The bench player has to give you this is what it is. This is the competition. This is the competition. It is not like Pete Carroll in Seattle when it was Russ and Matt Flynn. Like that was a competition. And you can make the argument that because Russ played very, very well in preseason, but that was the competition. It's not like for instance, I'll use another example. They wanted to start like even Dak in Dallas with Tony Romo. They wanted to still start Romo, even though Dak really played great in preseason.
Right.
They still wanted to start Romo. Like, it was an injury they kind of did.
Had it not been for the injury,
yeah, they wanted to start Romo. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't. My thing is, like, it doesn't. This thing is, it's really, really on how. Like, how just can't be horrible.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm factoring in all the things that happen.
Yeah,
right? He could play bad. I mean, he played one game.
Yeah,
he played one game.
It's possible. It's possible.
He played one game. He has the same weapons, but it's a new offense.
Yeah, but I will say this though. Like, this is what I like. This is me, and I said this when I told you off the rip. I use patterns and stuff, and I told you every time we had somebody who was at training camp, we had on the show, they were all consistent. They were like, who is the best looking quarterback? Folks were saying Sam Howell. That boy looked good. They said this in training camp prior with the two other quarterbacks in the building. But it was like, he's still raw, but he looked better than the other ones. They were saying that. Preseason, he looked decent, looked good to me preseason compared to some of the other dudes that I saw. Taylor Heinicke didn't look that good other than the last game. Like the third game, not the last, but the third game. Carson Wentz was not, like, he didn't have great drives in preseason, right? So, like, to me, when a quarterback is going to be horrible, in my opinion, like, from throwing the football, even in preseason, you could tell. Like, for instance, when you watch old boy from the Titans,
Malik Willis,
you knew already.
Malik Willis.
Yes, you knew already. And I was rooting for the kid, but you knew already. You watch what's the kid that went to he played in Minnesota. He played in Minnesota. They released him already, but he was in the SEC. It was a Munns. Watching preseason, you knew it already. Like, I'm just saying, like, you knew it already. You know what I mean? You watch Sam Howell preseason, you're like, oh, he got arm. Oh, he's accurate. Oh, he can throw that slant pass. Oh, he throws a nice deep ball. There's things that you saw. So I'm just saying, like, you're right though. The one thing I do agree with, which I do agree with you, is that, but also it's a new offense. I mean, you had Scott Turner, so it is what it is. But, like, it's like you do have a new offense though, it is different. You know what I'm saying? For a young quarterback, you got to do offense. So, but it's going to be a better offensive system. For real. Yeah. It's going to be a better offensive system. You're not dealing with the Scott Turner system. And if truth be told, it's going to be more of a quarterback friendly system compared to what you saw with Scott Turner. You know what I mean? If it's going off the Andy Reid tree, right? It's a quarterback friendly. What I mean by that, you're going to see screen passes. You know how Andy Reid rocks it. You're going to see screen passes, wide receiver screen, bubble screens, but screens that are passes right now. You know what I mean? But screens that are very deceptive. You know what I mean? Like, they're
look like something else. I was about to say, look like something else.
You know what I'm saying? That's how Andy does it. So, like, the great thing that we talk about Mahomes, when we talk about Mahomes and his arm and his all platforms he throws the football. But there are a lot of plays that he gets easy passes because of the great screen game that Kansas City has. We've seen this with the Eagles growing up, watching the Philadelphia Eagles under Andy Reid. Like, the screen game has always been something that's been dynamic for them. So there are things that Sam Howell won't have to work as hard with, or Brissett, whoever the quarterback is, like, compared to, what it is. But I think that for Sam Howell, if we were talking about, this is my opinion, this is being real. If we were talking about Sam Howell under Scott Turner, I kind of would agree with you. Even though he's in the same system, because there's still room to fail, because your offense could be very stagnant under Scott Turner, regardless. I'm sorry, regardless. Here,
it seems like he's just trying things. It seems like he's just randomly putting his hand in the bucket, like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. You know what I mean? I just feel like this coordinator, and I could be wrong. And one thing I won't act like, that Eric Bieniemy is a guarantee. I'm just confident in Eric Bieniemy. I just believe in the brother. But
I mean, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm there, right? For the creativity, I talked about it earlier this year with my Giants. Remember when I talked about the Giants offense being a lot more creative? They had some Kansas City influence, some Buffalo influence. Yeah. So, like, I know Eric Bieniemy's bringing some exotic to DC. Yes. I know he is, and he has weaponry all over. Yeah, he has a receiver, he has a running back that can catch the ball out the backfield. He's play fight receiver. He has a thumper. He has Terry. He has Jahan. Like, you figure out the tight end situation, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, you figure that out, then that's what you is. And now we're going to we'll talk about it later, probably on a later show, but you've kind of tackled so many things in the offseason. Still need to get linebacker. We'll talk about it later. that you can be if you wanted to, you could play around, get a tight end in the draft, one of them Georgia boys. You can play around and get a Georgia boy tight end. You could play around.
If you can get your hands on that kid from Notre Dame,
yeah, you can play around. There is like I still think you need they need a cornerback. We're gonna talk about another show.
Oh, they definitely need corners.
Yeah,
we got draft shows. We're gonna talk about all this on.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. But because this can go forever. But anyway, we talked about the offensive line though. So speaking of O-line,
we got Brissett. Right, Brissett came in today. Yeah. Andrew Wiley, I think, is a great pickup. I think having somebody that's familiar with the system that can teach the rest of the line, that knows what everybody's supposed to be. You got Nick Gates to come in as depth. I don't think Nick Gates is going to be a starter.
I don't think so either.
He's tough. He's good. He had a broken leg a couple of years ago. He came back and fought through that last year for the Giants. I know him well. He's a hard worker, all that. So all that, you got the right type of guys, right? And I think that's what the enthusiasm is, right? Yeah. Behind it. And so outside of that, the other free agent signings just happened to be on the defense. They brought in linebacker Cody Barton from the Seahawks, and they brought in I think they got the kid Cameron Dantzler from the Minnesota Vikings. Off waivers, right? Yep. Off waivers. They claimed them off waivers. So I see a lot of depth building, right? For a team that suffered injuries in some key spots last year. I think St. Juice went down last year. I think that hurt the team. I think before Jamin had his nice little stretch of football, the linebacker play was still a little shaky, right?
It was shaky. Not with him though, but it was shaky.
Holcomb is now out, right?
Yep. Much as it's the Steelers. Still 3 years deal. The Steelers for a 3-year deal. Yeah.
So you got pieces coming in. They also re-signed Danny Johnson. They have an affinity for him.
I love Danny Johnson.
Have an affinity for him here. So it looks like a lot of moves are being made. I want to see. I'm wondering how the rest of the offseason is going to go, right? Yeah. And what is the next particular big? I don't want to say big splash. Early on, I think they overpay a lot of people early on, right?
Yeah, they do. But all teams do.
What's the next significant position that needs to be filled?
Middle linebacker.
Middle linebacker.
Yeah, middle linebacker or outside, whatever you want to do. If you want to move James in the middle because he was playing a lot of middle at the end of the season and did all right playing it. But I still think if you want to still kick him out and to utilize that speed, middle linebacker. I mean, you got one that still plays at a high level. That's out there that the Rams let go. And Bobby Wagner, he's out there. I know the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
I was about to ask you, do you want to go for the biggest fish?
I do. I think you do. You see these teams the Cowboys making a play and they're getting Gilmore. Like your contemporaries are making plays, right? They're making plays at studs. The Eagles let go of Slay. I get Slay too. If I had a cornerback, I go after Slay too. But your contemporaries are making moves, man. You can't. The Eagles went to Super Bowl. The Cowboys made a move and got like I mentioned, Gilmore. Giants got Darren Waller. You gotta make a play. You know what I mean? I know it's cool to keep. You signed your own. You still got money now. You know what I mean? You got a quarterback. You got a young quarterback on a rookie deal. I mean, you got a backup that's not getting paid off a lot. So that means the money. Most of your money is usually tied into your quarterback. So you got money. You got money to play with. You know what I mean? So why not put that into one of these players? I feel linebacker is it. If you love your defense so much, why not make it that much thorough? You got a guy, Bobby Wagner, who still plays linebacker. That much more thorough? Yeah, and Bobby Wagner plays football plays linebacker still at the highest level. You know what I mean? I'm getting it at the highest level, man. I'm serious. You get that, you get him with those two boys. Come on, man.
Not a gap that won't be filled in America, baby.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I feel like that's a good one. I feel like you get a linebacker, cornerbacks for something. Those are the things I would tackle if I'm the Commanders. Because I mean, you weren't gonna get Tremaine Edmonds because that was Tremaine Edmonds because that's too expensive. I like Tremaine Edmonds though.
I'm wary of him, man. I think I get it. Virginia Tech is in the backyard.
Yeah.
6'5", 250. He's prototypical.
And he runs.
Man, but he runs to the tune of 100 tackles, man. His safeties, they got more tackles than him.
I know, but he flies
He's just
though, bro.
like why you just so big in the middle of the field and ain't doing nothing?
I
Five,
feel
six
you,
tackles
bro.
again.
I
Come on,
feel you.
bro. I
I
like
feel
him.
you, but sheesh.
I
I
like
like
the idea. I like the idea of him and his specs. But when
uh-huh.
I look at when I go back and I look, he leaves a lot to be desired, man. To be that,
I
to
don't
be that,
know.
he leaves a lot to be desired.
I feel
For
you.
me,
I hear you.
for me to give him 72 million like Chicago did, but we know when you want somebody and they kind of just blew it, letting Roquan go, right?
That's what that's what I get. I'm with you. That's why I ain't really get. I mean, I know we're going off topic, but I will say this much. I don't know why you let Roquan go and then get you. I don't get that one. I
pay
don't
the
get.
extra 18 million and keep Roquan.
You could have. I know. That's what I'm saying. That ain't make sense to me. Like that didn't. Hey, we have a poll about what grade would you give the Commanders' first 3 signings in 2023 free agency? The first 3, A, B, C, or F. 44% says B, 13% says A, 25% says C, 18% has F. Those are from yesterday. I wonder what it would be for today.
With Jacoby Brissett,
I think it'd be boosted up. I think it get boosted up because Brissett. Yeah, B plus because of Brissett.
Yeah, I like a B plus.
Brissett makes it better. I really like Wiley, the Wiley one. Yes,
I was about to say Wiley brings versatility to the offensive line because it lets everybody play where they need to play at.
Yeah.
Right? It lets everybody play where they need to play at. It brings some continuity to the group because he knows the offense. He knows where the protections. He knows everything. So he's going to be that leader. He's going to be that leader whether he's playing right tackle or not, right? He's going to be that leader because he has the familiarity with it and the offensive play caller. So I think that was a great. I mean, it may not be a big splash move to everybody, but that's a significant move for a team like the Commanders, right?
Who had a
Nick Gates
line.
coming in and being an extra body. And I'm pretty sure Nick Gates didn't sign for next to nothing. So he signed for next to nothing.
He signed for Gates signed for he signed. I'm not sure. Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't listed when I looked for it.
Yeah. So Nick Gates signed for, and he signed for an opportunity.
Yes.
Right. So you're gonna get a tough, gritty guy that can play. He's versatile. He can play multiple positions, which we know that this offensive line needs based off all the injuries over the past 2 years.
Sure, man.
It's going to come a time in the season where somebody's going to be playing out of position, and you need somebody that's been there already. So I think I give it a B plus because. And then you brought in some depth with Cody Barton at the linebacker. You know, he's going to be in the rotation or on special teams.
I'm not a fan of that. That one I don't care for. I think I'm just kind of, I have a fear. I have a fear that he's going to be. My fear is that he's going to be a star. He's going to start as middle linebacker. That's a fear. I mean,
it's up to the organization to go find better. But I think right now, as a special teams ace, he can come in and be a backup, and he can be in a rotation when needed. Because we know injuries are going to happen.
He had 136 tackles last year with 2 picks, but
he had more tackles than Tremaine Edwards. He had more picks.
But you know what? I'm gonna be real. Sometimes tackles aren't an indicator of how good you are. I'm serious, bro. Like I've seen it. Sometimes you just tackle. Like you ain't an indicator that you good though.
I get it. Sometimes Tremaine Edwards. Sometimes you just run and you just.
I get you. No, I'm gonna argue that. I'm just saying this kid. Like I see this kid, like I've seen dudes at 130 something 50. I'm like, bro, you ain't it though. But you got tackles, but you ain't it. You know what I mean? But
the situation matters, man. But like, I just think that there's nothing is like super flashy. Jacoby Brissett is probably the sexiest one because a lot of people are not sold on Sam Howell. Like
I got one for you though. So we got on Twitter. We do have a poll about Brissett. It says, "Are you happy with the Brissett signing?" And 83% says yes. 17% says yes. So at least says no. Excuse me. 17% says no. So that's good. At least the fan base likes it. But go ahead, finish your point about your.
And I think the fan base is going to like it because I don't think everybody is as sure of Sam Howell as the organization is, right? So it always makes sense to bring a veteran. And even if they are sure about him, it always makes sense to bring in a veteran that can help tutor the young boys. So
I like culture, man. I'm all about culture. Like this like this is one thing I had an issue with, like not scary, but what they were doing was scary. I was like, why not give him a vet wide receiver to learn from? Why he gotta be the vet? Like why he gotta be that guy? It's like he has to be.
Scary is different though. Scary came in mature.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean? Like usually the good ones, like you always learning from somebody before you, typically when you trying to be that dog. You know what I mean? Like Randy Moss had had Chris Carter. Jerry Rice had, Terrell Owens had Jerry Rice. Who learned? I'm trying to figure out who learned. Trying to think of another dog. There's a bunch of folks like this learn from him.
Had Rod Smith.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you just learn from that vet. It may not be your vet may not even be the elite dude, but your vet could have been a vicious slot runner or whatever. And slot receiver.
Okay, had Jordy Nelson and Donald.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can learn from them. You know what I'm saying? Like you learn from them and then it makes you a better player. So, but for quarterbacks, I think it's essential to have that guy, like you go into a room and like a quarterback room and this person, like no knock, and this is real talk, no knock on Taylor Heinicke, you know what I'm saying? But you haven't been in the league long enough to give that much for the young boy. You know what I'm saying? Like that much. Like Brissett has been in multiple teams, has played multiple games multiple teams, started multiple games from multiple different teams. You're gonna learn so much more from him compared to a Taylor Heinicke. Indeed, just being honest. I know that people love Taylor, but it's the truth. You're gonna learn more from him. The only thing that's different is Taylor is way more. I think Taylor is super humble to a point where he knows, like, he'll say, like, okay, I'm a backup. I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just different. You know what I mean? But I do think that it's good for the culture for the squad. You know what I'm saying? But we talked about offensive line. There's some big news with the offensive line. Offensive line coach John Masco was basically fired. I'm gonna say, let go. Let me use let go. It's a nice word. Let go. This guy's been credited really for improving so many offensive linemen that you wouldn't think that would turn out well. But obviously, Eric Bieniemy is the new offensive coordinator, and their styles weren't going to be able to mesh. How do you feel like this has impacted the Commanders, Mo? That this will impact the Commanders?
I think for the guys that are there, I think when you think about development and whatnot, it's going to take a little bit of a hit. But like you said, with Eric Bieniemy coming in, I think they need a little bit more fluidity on the offensive line because of the movement, and they're going to move the pocket a lot more than it's not that old school rugged style of hat on hat, right? Yeah. They're getting into space. So for Eric Bieniemy to get what he needs to get out of this opportunity, and he wants to catapult himself too. He wants to have a good product out there. I think that the differences in philosophies is probably just too drastic. Yep. And you never want to let somebody like Coach Masco go, but like for where this team is right now, it probably needed a complete makeover, and it was just a hard decision that had to be made. And we're gonna see who comes out right.
I agree.
During the season. So unfortunately, coach had to go, but you got to respect him for his time here. A lot of players credit him for a lot of their development. You talk about he got a lot out of a lot of mid-round guys and a lot of guys off the street. He maximized where they maximize their potential. He will be missed here, but if he wants to continue coaching, I think he has the resume enough to get on wherever he wants to get on if he wants to continue coaching. But shout out to coach. You tip your hat off to him, but it's a new regime. It's a new, it's a new day. So you got to go with that.
I agree, man. I agree. Well, this has been a dope show. We're back. You know what I mean? It's a lot. This off season has been hectic. We had to have a show for y'all, man. You know what I mean?
It's only been 2 days.
I know, 2 days. Lord knows what happens next week, for real, bro. Like, for real. And then we got draft. We got draft talk.
We may mess around and have an hour show for y'all next week.
Yeah, for real, man. Real talk, man. Real talk. Hey, anyway, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and go Errrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrything and hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything and like our All Burgundy and Go Errrything Facebook page. Hey, do not forget to subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Errrything YouTube channel as well. All right, Mo and I appreciate you all for tuning in. This has been a dope show. Hope next week we'll have the whole fam. I'm hoping we'll have the whole fam. And then we're gonna bless y'all with the whole full roster. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports, so you can tell I do multiple shows. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Errrything, powered by the Urban Sports Seed and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for Asian Jitty. Deuces, a mega. Lead us out, big homie.